The madmen at Blizzard actually did it. They nerfed ghouls. Can you believe it? Perhaps some of you can. And maybe it's because of one man. This guy. This Giga Chad right here. No one can stop him. He's now over there. He's so powerful, so strong. Such a force to be reckoned with that even this man can make ghouls scary. Because normally the rest of us dispose of them. They think, what is this weak unit? Barely worth using. I'd much rather use a fiend, much more reliable DPS. No. He likes the ghouls. And now he's going to struggle with them. I don't know, actually. It'd be interesting to see how this goes down. Ghouls have been nerfed by 1 damage. It's shocking. Shocking, I tell you. There's more to this patch as well. So a patch has gone through. It's been in the works for a little while, and Blizzard hadn't quite committed to it, but now they have. So the ghouls that we know and love, well, we got them here. I can do a little demonstration for you guys to show. So, for example, I'm going to have these attack this, and we're going to just do dash DPS. It only works on one of them, so... Oh my gosh, look at that frame rate drop. Maybe we won't do that. Okay, I've got a serious problem with that frame rate. Hang on a second. I guess what we can just do is simply have them attack. So go hostile. And then we can just do the math. They stay at 10,000 health, these test dummies. So what we'll do is we'll let the ghouls attack for, I don't know, about 20 hits or something like that. That's more than enough to really get an explanation as to what the difference is here between the 12 to 14 and the 11 to 13. So 12 to 14 is what they used to do. The top is what they used to be. 11 to 13 is what they are now. So you can see there's a little bit of difference here between the two. Not going to be much. You ready to do some math for me, Phaedric? Ready to do some math? I need to call off my ghouls. So call them off. And then now we can see 9569. So 9569. And 9605. So we want to do some math on this, do we now? So you can see that's the difference there. Let's just say after about 20 hits. I didn't count, but you can get an idea. They both basically hit at the same time, over and over. And now you've got that much more of a difference after that many hits. So it's not huge. There's about 50 damage loss, 40 damage loss, something like that. What would you say? Over about 20 hits. Not massive. But it probably is going to be somewhat noticeable. A more easy way to tell, I think, would be something like this, where you're realistically going to be creeping, right? You might use something like 4 ghouls to creep a camp, or 4 or 5 ghouls. So I've got 4 ghouls. These are the old ones. These are the new ones. And they're going to basically make them attack this troll berserker. And the idea would be to see which one goes down first. Sort of like the difference, right? So you can see how many extra hits you might have to do. So that required that extra volley. But I think it's very minor, but it is noticeable. If you're playing at a higher level, you will notice that. That extra volley could make the difference there. If it was 5 ghouls, that would have been a clean kill. And then, in this case, they would have had to do 1 more extra swing, which is 1 more extra bit of damage, which is a few more extra seconds, which is that time before you move the ghouls at the next creep camp to move out with your hero to then go harass or something like that. And all of this stuff at the higher level definitely ticks. So the question is can Happy still make these ghouls work? What does Happy think about these ghouls? Is he happy about it? I don't know. But you guys, you tell me. I don't think this is going to break anyone's world, but it is weird to see sort of like just this -1 damage on the ghouls. For those of you that don't know how the damage thing works, basically, it used to be a 10 damage base. Now it's a 9. So it's the 9 damage plus the first damage number of dice. So that bumps it up to 11. And then you add the 2, which is the damage sides per die, onto that 11, which makes it 11 to 13. So that's how it works here. So you can see this ghoul's got 11 to 13. So they effectively just removed 1 point of damage. But I think that it's going to be annoying. However, remember the archers and the range units did get that 10% less damage done as well from their piercing. So ghouls are like a bit better against piercing. So they should still be relevant. I certainly don't think they're going to fall off the charts, but not many people can use ghouls effectively without them getting utterly destroyed by creep camps and, you know, most of the other players. It's quite hard to micro them. So this is the question is, should ghouls be nerfed just because Happy's so gosh darn good? Because he plays undead exceptionally well. He's effectively perfected it. He's a man that can... I mean, Obsidian statues, the guys that provide the mana, right? These guys are really good, just even on an average player, but a guy that knows what he's doing and can actively use the hotkeys and move the statues as he's moving his army as well, which almost none of us can do effectively. These are insane if you know how to actually micro these, but it's a hell of a lot of effort to do that and feel comfortable doing that on top of it. So Happy's the kind of player that can kind of do that sort of thing. He gets like, he basically squeezes all of the juice from the lemon. He doesn't even leave a single drop left in the rind, the peel. Nothing is left behind. So I don't know what his thoughts are on this. I'd be interested to see what his thoughts are. Apparently I need a VPN. Okay. I better get on that. Thank you, Blizzard. I don't know, that's part of the patch. There is more to do with this patch, though. That was just the funny bit with the ghoul. Now we have the map hack thing being dealt with. I was told about this. Control-C camera lock will no longer track units that leave a player's vision. So you could use Control-C apparently on an enemy unit as they go off into the fog of war, and then you can sort of still roughly track where they were. Although I suppose you would have to just follow that unit and you wouldn't be able to micro your own units whilst you're watching it. So it'll give you an indication as to which direction they're going off to. I don't think this is something that was ever going to be really used to like give yourself map hack. It's just it's another sort of minor thing that would like give you an indication what your opponent's doing, which you're not supposed to have. So they dealt with it. Blizzard dealt with that. So good for them. Added hints for AMD and NVIDIA drivers to use discrete GPUs. I don't know what the heck that means, other than hoping that the Warcraft 3 Reforged can run on your computer. Maybe some more advice on how to get it to do that. And then these, I don't know. But this, so this one is actually really cool. Increased the tile set limit from 16 to 24. Please note that using more tile set textures may significantly increase the load time of the map. Use with caution. Yeah, I always wondered about this, because it used to be capped to 16, but now we go out to 64. It's a bit like they just let so many people play on Warcraft 3 now, potentially. Not that we ever get this, but, you know, 24 players. It never used to be that many. You never used to be able to get that. At best, you could get 12 players, and it just boosted right up to 24. So this change increases the number of the something file. I don't think we're going to worry too much about that. Adding an option under the advanced tab. I don't think that's relevant. So if we come back over to here, and we look, for example, to modify the tile set. When you make a map in Warcraft 3, you either use one of the tile sets, be it Lordaeron, Black Citadel, Ice Crown. So do you want it to be snowy? Do you want it to be dark and dank? Do you want it to be jungly? You know, you got different types. But what this does now is this means that people creating an RPG or something, or any map really, can have more diversity in their maps. So you don't have to just stick to like barony grey tiles or, you know, green everywhere. You can chuck in some snow, you can chuck in some, you know, some fire, and you don't just have to have one or two of those tiles. You can have a lot of them, up to 64, which is huge. So you can really just basically stick a whole ton of these, because each one is about 2, 4, 6, 8. It's 8 to 10 probably tiles per set. So that's an extra 6 maps right there. It's not all of them, of course. You will still have to be a little bit picky on what you choose, but generally speaking, it's pretty damn cool. You can add in that many more. So I think that's a really cool feature for those map makers in Warcraft 3. Let's have a look and see if there's anything else to do with this patch. An issue on Royal Gardens where the northeast green camps were too close to each other. I never knew that was enough of an issue, but that has been dealt with. And that was the ghouls being nerfed. Dark Ranger Drain Life can no longer target herself, so she can no longer effectively off herself by sucking herself. So I guess Blizzard have removed Sylvanas' OnlyFans account. Bug fixes. Fixed a crash that could occur when creating an invalid Uber splat. Fixed a crash that would sometimes occur when loading a sound file. Fixed several bugs in some cases that cause memory to become corrupted, which would then lead to potential random crashes later in the game. That could be big for us, potentially. If we're playing a custom game and you get these kind of desyncs that could occur because of memory leaks. So that would be nice. Hopefully that will help. Fix an issue where mouse buttons were issuing incorrect commands. That's weird. Don't know that. And the heroes in the War Chasers custom map now have inventory slots, so we have an excuse to go play War Chasers again at some point. So that's it, really. It was a small patch, very minor, but it was funny, mostly just because of the ghoul and how that might affect things. So you guys let me know what you think about the ghoul change, really, mostly more than anything else. Do you think this little fella deserves to have 1 damage chipped off of his claw? It's like he's got his nails filed or something like that. What are you thinking? He looks like he's quite peppy. He doesn't deserve it. I think Blizzard might have been a bit cruel to the ghoul. I think what they need to do is perhaps make it so the ghoul isn't so powerful at tier 3. That's where the power spike is, where undead straight tech to tier 3. And then they get the movement speed, and that's when the ghouls really become scary, because they're like attacking, and they're fast, and they got the unholy aura from the Death Knight, so they're constantly keeping up with the units, and there's a whole bunch of them. They are very intimidating when you get to that stage. But before that point, yes, they are technically quite efficient creepers. They're wood workers. They can get you wood, lumber, and then you can use them to creep. Higher level players will do well with this, but then again, Night Elf have Ancients of War to creep camps they shouldn't really be able to do, and Orc are just OP in general. They got Blade Master Mirror Image, so fuck Orc. And then humans have Militia, but they've always had Militia. That used to be the thing that made humans strong for being human, but then every other race just got to kind of do what human does. AK, in this case, they would use ghouls to creep afterwards if they're being efficient through like harassing with a hero, and then all you have to do is pay a bit of attention to micro. So you get the lumber in for the ghouls, you get the lumber in that you need for your future tech, and then you can use the ghouls to start creeping camps whilst your hero's away, because your hero gets 100% of the experience, because it's global experience. So this is the beauty of doing that. And yeah, like I say, Night Elf never used to really Ancient of War creep, and then that became a thing. So back in the day, if Blizzard knew about Ancient of War creeping, would they have allowed them to have it? Would they have made human militia better for future cases to compensate for Night Elf having these kind of powers? And ghouls can eat corpses, so yeah, they've got that going for them. So yeah, thank you for watching. If you did, thanks for popping in. That's it, really.